Welcome to Kinky Bad Habits. Everything you are about to hear is for a mature audience. If you are under 18, please find something a little more age appropriate. We are not responsible for what you're about to hear.
Now,
on with the show.
you may now begin the course.
This is the first episode of this new show.
Yeah, this is my first time back on the podcast in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
So I just want to say thank you. Welcome to Kinky Bad Habits. And then we actually have another special guest in studio with us today. We have Sara.
Hello.
And then it's my wife, Ashley.
Hi.
And myself, David. And welcome. And it's Elysia?
Elysia.
Elysia.
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize.
Oh, no, it's fine. Nobody ever gets it right the first try.
It's just the way you look at it spelled.
Thanks, hippie parents.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I pretty much butcher anybody's name that comes on the show.
Yeah, he does. That's very true.
But so yeah, everybody, welcome to our new show. And I know a lot of this one is going to be kind of almost like a redemption show in a way, because I know you had an issue on the last podcast you were on, or one of the last podcasts you were on, and I just wanted to clear it all up and just say what, from what I heard from you, what they said, it was not fair to you at all. So I'm just kind of giving you a chance to kind of clear it up. And the one thing I want to do with this podcast is make it to where the people, I guess you can say the vanilla community, needs to understand that there is nothing wrong with the kink community. It's how people want to live their lives, and how, people should be allowed to express themselves, live the way they want to, as long as it's not affecting or hurting anybody else.
Yeah,
what does it matter?
If you're bi, whatever, you're you. That's all that matters. And personally, I just say F you to everybody else, because their opinion does not matter. Like, all that matters is what you feel about yourself and what, you want to do with your life, what you like to do. It's none of anybody else's business. And personally, like, the whole kink thing, like, that is your own business. Like, that's a part of who you are. You want to explore these things. Like, get over it. It's none of your business. That's what I have to say.
Yeah. In my case, I'm out, and I'm starting to get out and about with being polyamorous. It's something I've been polyamorous for a very long time. Like, when I really think about it, it was probably back in high school. And I'm in my 40s now, so that's a long time, and
yeah,
I was conscientiously polyamorous, like, and in an ethically non-monogamous relationship in my early 20s. And that person was who I went on to marry. We're not together anymore, but yeah, I feel really lucky, because I was in a lot of circles, it was just normalized, and it was very common that people have a boyfriend and a girlfriend or something like that. Or I'm friends with some sex workers. I've got a lot of friends that have been openly polyamorous and triads and beyond, and a bunch of friends that are just ethically non-monogamous, and they're never going to get married. They don't want to have that house and a husband and a white picket fence, and so they've always kind of lived their lives as being free people, and so it's kind of crazy to me when every now and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm seeing a couple people, and I butt up against somebody, and somebody starts calling me a hoe, because I'm like, I have a few partners,
Yeah, exactly. We actually have a friend that actually married us, and he is a polyamorous. They did just a ceremony, obviously, so he could basically say that he's committed to all three of them. And so, like, you know, I've actually been interested in that, like, lately. I've been discovering more about that. I used to watch shows about it and like think about it, but like I never acted upon it. And now like that side of me is starting to come out more, and I'm more interested in that kind of thing. So I'm just, exploring and seeing, yeah, what's out there and what's really going on, because it is very interesting.
Yeah, it's a little different for everybody too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like for me, you brought up having a commitment ceremony. After coming out of a marriage where I was with the same person for like over half my life, I,
Yeah.
I just at this point in my life, like I am not looking for that. I want to see, I want to be a relationship anarchist, and I want to build the relationships around me that are important to me. And it's
Right.
really, really hitting home as I'm seeing both of my parents age and, seeing that they're really heavily relying on their spouses. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily know that I want to do that to one person.
Yeah. I understand that. I actually have second stage brain cancer, so like, um, and we have seven boys, and all of them are disabled, and like we deal with a lot, but yet, I don't give a crap. Like, I've been very independent my whole life. Just because I had to stick up for myself. My ex-husband, it was actually really abusive. So, I was basically controlled and that sort of thing. So I didn't get to be myself and actually get to explore certain sides of myself. Um, so it was interesting once I got divorced, and then
Well, you're also taking care of a man child with a broken foot right now, too.
yeah, yeah. What do you mean? A man filed? Are you serious? Just now? No, 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 he's good. We just like to joke around a lot and mess around. Oops.
So like I came out of a abusive marriage too, mentally, emotionally, financially abusive.
Mhm.
And speaking like what you were saying, like I didn't really get to be myself either. Like I met him when I was 21, got pregnant, had my oldest son when I was 23, and now that we're going through divorce, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna do what I like to do, what I want to do, and
Yeah.
explore relationships with other people. I don't necessarily want to be tied down to anyone, one person
Right,
anymore.
right.
Like I, you're told be a good girl and do the whole monogamous relationship thing, and you're like, I don't think that's me anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Like I don't
Yeah.
want to. Like
Well, being bi,
yeah,
like, dating females when I was in high school and things like that. And then when I was with my ex-husband for 16 years. And I had few kids with him. Well, two of them are, one's here, one's not. But I have a few more, and it's just a nightmare. And I went through a lot. I am actually diagnosed with complex PTSD. And so when I got divorced, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have fun. Fuck this shit. Like, I'm gonna do what I want. Like, I dated a 21-year-old for a while. Like, I was 9 years older than him. Like, I had a little fun. Why not?
see, and
Yeah,
I
I
got.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Alicia.
No, you go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I go out to the bars every once in a while when I don't have my kids, and more every time I go out, I have some 21-year-old to 26-year-old bumpkin. They're like, "Can I call you mommy? I just want to suck on your titties and blah blah blah." Um,
It's
And it's just like, I don't know if I'm comfortable with
it's
that. I
the
got 3
Arctic
babies. Like, I don't need a
blueberry.
4th.
Yeah, the mommy thing was like, look, no shame. It's not for me because
No.
No,
I have
that's
a
not for
toddler.
me either.
I've got a 2-year-old who still calls me mommy, and so it just
Yeah,
Right?
takes me out of that headspace.
yeah.
I know I got a 4-year-old, so being called mommy or mama, I'm just like
What?
having a grown ass man calling me mommy. I'm
No,
like,
no.
no.
No, I don't have that. Like,
I could go with Mama
no.
Sita or something, but
Yeah,
mommy,
yeah.
like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of being called daddy either. It just kind of freaks me out because of the kids. It's
Oh,
like,
no.
no.
I know. I am not into that neither. But like, I always get, I'm 40 years old, and I'm like, people think I'm like 26. You know, I'm like good genetics, but hey, um, it's just yeah. And I've got 7 boys, and my oldest is 20. Our 2 oldest are 20 years old. And then we've got the one that's gonna be 20, and then we have the one that's gonna be 16, and then we have one that's gonna be 18 here, and then our youngest will be 11. So, and they're all boys, and we deal with, like I said, disabilities, but they're amazing. Like I wouldn't trade it for the world. They're autistic. Most of them actually are. So like you get to see things from their perspective and their world, and it's amazing. Like they get to be who they are. Like I'm just like, you know what? Sometimes I wonder if I could just actually be like them and see what their world was like how they think. Like, you know, it's just amazing to me because they live so freely. And then, yeah.
So I'm just kind of curious. That last show, what exactly? I mean, why? Why did they treat you like that? They just not understanding on
So
everything, or
it wasn't a show. It was actually a conversation on a social media platform,
Uh,
and I don't even remember like. Oh, I remember it started because it was a conversation about a meme, and it's a new Megan Fox movie that I'm like coming up blank with the title, but she plays a robot, and she's like an AI wife, right? And the joke in the meme was that wives everywhere were going to start freaking out because they could have sex with an AI wife whenever they wanted. So like, the attitude for most of the women on that was like, dude, if that's what you want, go for it. Saves me some trouble. You
Right.
know? And there was a lot of like trashing women and trashing men and stuff like that on there, and I just piped up and I was like, I split bills on dates, and I'm seeing one nice respectful gentleman who cooks dinner, and like, no, like I don't want to have to be reduced to somebody that has sex with somebody and cooks and cleans up after them. Like if that's all you want out of a partner, cool, but I'm probably not it for you, you know?
so they want to be
mhm.
stuck in like the 1950s,
Yeah,
where
exactly.
See, that's what
Right.
my ex-marriage was like. It was terrible.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually found a book that I was joking around and I was wanting to get just so I could have her read it because it was funny. It was the something like the Good Housewives of 1950.
I've seen that.
Yeah, and it goes through and says like everything that
A
the
woman should be.
right.
Mhm.
Basically, when a guy gets home, she's supposed to be waiting there with well, at this point, he said martini and slippers,
Yeah.
and she's supposed to have the kids fed and bathed, and
In
everybody's
bed.
supposed to be
Yeah.
quiet. And
Yeah, I know.
I made that joke. I looked at her, I'm like, here you go, babe. She looked at me, and I think that was a point where I could have pretty much been, well, she'd have shot me.
No, I was no, that's not me. Like, no, thank you.
It sounds kind of nice to have a husband that would be like that, though, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it would.
I mean, like, if you want
I'd
to
still
role
be
play
married.
that, like, every once in a while, okay, but that's not going to be my life.
Yeah, right.
No, if I'm role playing, I'm dressing up in one of my nice outfits and acting out. But that's a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, actually one of my subs was kind of like into the 1950s look, and I definitely would have done that for him because that's like kind of a fun role play that you could put a twist on,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
know we've talked about doing like
Well, I
making like
actually like the way
calendars.
you dress.
We've actually talked about doing calendars and doing some stuff like that, but there was one point in time where we were talking about making a calendar where like it was all the guys of the network was going to be dressed in like skimpy stuff just for the hell of it. but we never went through with it. And kind of, I think in a way it'd be kind of fun to go through with it.
No, I like that look, the 1950s, but I actually am more of like the 70s type vibe, 80s. Like, I like that.
If we did that
look.
calendar, I'd wear like Daisy Dukes and shit.
Well,
Just
Yeah,
for the hell of
dash
it.
short shorts.
Allowed to wear what I wanted. Like, I was controlled. Like, you were told what you could and could not wear. Like,
Or they make you feel like shit for
Yeah.
dressed it like wearing some kind of cleavage or
well,
you know,
no, like
whatever.
I would have some of his friends would come over and I'd have leggings on and he'd tell me go change.
Ew.
Sounds like my ex-husband. He was like that too.
See, I'm the opposite. When she dresses up in that, it's like, okay, if guys or women look at her, it's like, that's a kind of a compliment. And at the end of the night, she's still coming home with me.
Right.
Yeah.
So what does it matter?
Like my stepdad was that way too. I'd hide clothes in my bag, school bag, and I'd just change at school. Yeah, so I grew up like that. I married somebody like that.
My mom was like that. She couldn't wear skirts or like, so I had to hide things.
Yeah,
from
I had to
her.
have certain
Yeah.
lengths and everything. Like I couldn't wear spaghetti straps,
Mhm.
nothing. Like it was ridiculous.
When I was bigger breasted when I was younger, so I got a breast reduction like 2 years ago. So like
Mhm.
it would be like, oh, you're showing too much cleavage, and or like even in a turtleneck. I'm like, well, how about you go fuck off and let me live my life,
Right,
Like,
exactly.
or being told you'll have cleavage in a turtleneck. I'm like, thanks for sexually harassing me. That's really cool.
Right,
Like from like
exactly.
old bosses and shit. It's like that means you're staring
Ew.
at my tits.
More
Thank
ew.
you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, you can,
I'm 16 years old. Thank you for that.
that shouldn't,
Yeah.
they shouldn't be bringing it up. I mean,
No.
I'm a guy. Of course, I'm going to glance and stuff at that stuff, but it's not like I'm going to bring it out and say anything rude or anything.
I mean, like we go to strip clubs together. Like, I love strip clubs and watching females and
You dance with them.
yes, I
I
do.
would totally do that too.
What do you mean? I like when we do personal dances. What do? I make them sit down and I do the lap dance. Do I not?
Yeah, I know the one
Mhm.
time the stripper was sitting on my lap and Ashley was stripping for the stripper.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
Treasured memories.
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah,
And the nice thing too, like with my prior relationship, like I couldn't go to a strip club. I couldn't do anything like that.
no.
Even if I tried to like start dressing better, my ex was like, "Oh, who are you fucking now?"
Yeah,
It's like-
exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's all been like that, and it's been nice, like being with my wife now. She's more open to things. I mean, she tells me if I want to dress a certain way, yeah, you want to look like a dumbass, go for it.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's kind of nice to not have somebody always judging everything you do. And I mean, hell, my ex would have been thinking anybody that messaged me or texted my phone or anything, all of a sudden I'm cheating, I'm doing this, and it's just
Well, what am I going to school for? Going to here, a
mm,
psychotherapist.
yeah, psycho.
So no,
If looks could kill.
I get crazy at times, but
No.
We all get crazy.
I wonder why. No, I'm
It's
just
not my fault.
honest. I'm just honest and I'm straight to the point and I'm very blunt. And I don't care if people like that or not. Like at first when I first meet somebody, like I kinda have to, take it in, kind of feel what's going on there. I have like a very good like intuition on things and I feel things deeply. Like if somebody's like around me and has bad energy, like it almost drains me. It's insane how that feels.
Well,
Like,
what I've noticed though with like the kink community, that I would say probably 80% of the people on there seem to be more willing to accept on how somebody really is rather than
mhm.
saying something or making fun of somebody. I mean, the only thing that drives me nuts is like the messages that she gets of random guys trying to.
Oh God.
It's like, what what does it take to get you in bed? Well,
Or
okay.
just send you a dick pic and call it a day. Like,
Right.
why would I want that in my DMs? Like, go away.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's just It's like,
I
okay,
don't care how hung you are. Like,
well, she'll put like I'm married. It's not going to happen. Well, is there any way I can convince you otherwise? No.
No. No.
would be like, did you read my profile? No, obviously not. They just saw a pretty face and want to smash.
Yeah.
Oh, she gets
exactly.
guys that say, "Well, can I just sit in the corner and watch you and your husband go at it?"
Well,
It's like,
yeah.
no.
Oh, what a great
Sorry.
offer. Thank you so much. That's exactly what I need in my life right now.
I know. It's like, no.
I mean, everyone has their thing, right? But I mean, you have to be open to that. You know,
I mean,
you can't just.
Well, the one
do it
guy,
like a normal
the
stalker. Sit off somebody's tree and watch with binoculars. I mean, come on.
one guy is like,
Don't do that.
oh, he wants me to do his makeup. So yeah.
Yeah, there's actually been a couple guys on there that have been trying to get my wife to do their makeup so when they go out to the club.
Yeah, because I'm a cosmetologist.
I've actually gotten that one too. I've gotten a couple of trans women and cross that want me to help them dress or do their makeup as well.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
And the funny thing is too, I mean, a couple of them that we said, yeah, we'll do it. We just got to set up a time. Like, well, since you have kids, how do you want me to dress? Do you want me to dress like normal or can I dress in my outfit? And we're like, yeah,
like, I care, like, my kids need to know, like, people
our boys don't judge
no, they
people
don't.
on that. I mean, our
come out and be like, hey, what's up? Like,
our 16-year-old still trying to figure out his sexuality because
he is.
he's like, well, I find girls attractive, but at the same time, it's like I find guys attractive, and it's like, you know what, dude, follow what you want. If that's what you want in life, just be safe and be happy.
Yeah.
No, I've got family
Twice
that
as
was
many
on the
chances for heartbreak.
yeah, but I've got family that would sit there and say, if you do this, they're like Bible thumping, and you're going to hell for this, and it's like,
Yeah, I know.
just don't listen to them.
Yeah, I know. We know a few people like that in your family. Yeah.
My ex-husband and his family is like that, very strict and like.
But whatever.
Yeah.
My family's like, I don't care, just as long as you're happy.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Well, that's like my dad's side of the family is very open to anything. I mean, hell, they don't give a shit what you are as long as you bring beer and weed. They're happy to hell to see you.
Yeah.
Well, this is why I struggled with the Kink community is because like I identify as a Christian, but not in the way of like I'm going to church all the freaking time, I'm reading the Bible, whatever. It's like we were created to love humans and be.
I was Catholic, raised Catholic,
but just like be
Me too.
loving to other people, not treat them like shit because they view world a little differently, and certain things make them happy or whatever.
Yeah. So, what do you want, babe? I'll get it for you.
I'm going to make my drink.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was gonna say if you wanted something, I'd get it for you.
Oh, good. I can do it.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and then I get crap because I'm technically a non-denomination, so I just kind of believe it how I want to, and everybody sits there and goes, "Well, you're an atheist if you believe it that way." It's like, no. But in the same sense, it's like with everything that we've went through, how can there be something out there? But it's all in anybody's beliefs.
Right.
So
that's why I struggle with the kink stuff a little bit in that sense because you're told your whole life like that's wrong or the devil worshiper or blah blah blah. I'm like, because I like to get off and I like to be tied up or have that dynamic with another person, like that doesn't mean I'm an evil human being.
Exactly.
And what I'm into is evil. Like, I don't know. People just need to lighten up.
Yeah, it's not, you're going out and enjoying it. You're not like you're sitting there and you're kidnapping some random person and doing it.
I'm not walking around with a collar and cuffs on all the time,
Yeah. Consenting adults, right?
Right.
Exactly.
So the funny thing for me, so I came out to my mom last year, right? When I started dating and stuff like that after my divorce. And it's funny because my mom is very pro-gay. Like some of her best friends are gay. She's never had, I grew up around gay people, lesbians, cross-dressers. Like it's, my godfather is a drag queen. But when it came time for her to find out that I was bisexual, she had a really hard time with it. She was like, okay, that's fine, but I don't want to hear about that part of your life. And I was like, okay, noted, heard.
Interesting.
But she came around like I was. So I have a girlfriend now, and I was getting ready to go out on a date with my girlfriend one night. My mom calls and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm getting ready to go out." She goes, "What are you doing tonight?" And I was like, "Well, you told me you didn't want to know about that part of my life." And she goes, her biggest sigh, she goes, "Okay, tell me what you're doing." And so I was able to tell her that I had a girlfriend. She's like, "All right, well, I'm good. I'm happy for you. It's good to know. Is she nice? What do you think about her? What are you guys going to do?" So it was nice, but it took a really long time for her to come around. So even being raised in like a sex positive, gay friendly household, it was still a lot of work to come out.
Right. A struggle for you.
Yeah. And I don't think she'd be surprised to find out that I'm into kinky stuff, but at the same time, she definitely doesn't want to hear about it.
Like most mothers, they bury their head in the sand, and
Yeah,
especially that generation, like they just nope, don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I had a good friend.
right. But I suspect she was doing it too. Like that's the
Ah.
the
Yeah, I had a good friend of mine in high school that we always hung out and stuff, and we'd go to pick up chicks, and he never really like got into it and never really figured out why. He was, I mean, decent looking guy, and he was clean and all this, and well, come to find out, after high school, he moved down to Miami, and he's big into like the shows and stuff like that, like the drag queen shows and all that, and married a guy, and he's happy. And it's like, dude, if you would have said this back in the day, I wouldn't have cared. Instead of going and picking up chicks, we could have,
Gone to a gay club and hung out, and
right.
yeah.
I mean, well, I've been to the one that's in Madison, and actually took my wife there for the first time after we started dating. And to be honest, I mean, it was more fun there than we have at like normal bars and stuff. And hell, the last time we went, I went to go pay the tab, and my tab was only like 50 cents because the bartender thought I was cute and actually picked up our tab.
Nice.
So I got to drink, my wife got to drink for 25 cents the whole night.
Yep, I went to that bar I think once for St. Patrick's Day with a girlfriend of mine, and her and I were acting like we're not like she's bi, I'm bi curious. And we've been well, we're not friends anymore, but we were friends for a very long time. Um and we were grinding on each other and kissing on each other and whatever, and we still got hit on by guys.
Mm-hmm.
I had to slap a guy because he was like, I just, if we were in my country, you'd be my wife by now. I'd be like, oh, that's nice, dear, but we're gay, so go away. Like, just fuck off. Like, but yeah, you have more fun and you feel more free, and where you're not being groped and treated like shit.
I think the weirdest thing though I had happen to me was I was sitting there and I had this really a lot larger black woman come up to me, and she started like talking to me, and I was talking back to her. And then next thing I know, she asked me if I wanted to have a gynecology exam. I'm like, I'm a guy. She's like, I don't care.
Oh,
I'm just like, nah, I'm good. I am good.
oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, she could have picked me up, threw me over her shoulder, and walked out of the bar. I mean, so yeah, but
Mommy.
I just most of the time going to those places though. I mean, they're a lot more fun, and the one we went to was Club 5 up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love that bar.
Hmm.
We just haven't been there in a couple years now,
Yeah,
but
it's been about 12 years for me.
yeah.
So.
And like I said, it's a lot more of a friendly community and environment.
Mhm.
And to be honest, how like hell, even a lot of the men, how they were dancing, it's like, how the hell do they do that? I have absolutely no rhythm. I'm like the typical normal, straight, goofy guy. And yeah, watching them dance, I was kind of like, whoa, that is something. It's like intrigued. But I mean, and kind of getting back to your other conversation, you said they were even like trashing how your hair was and everything, and I don't see it. Your hair looked really great from what you got on there.
Yeah, that was there was like, of course, somebody with hair that looks like yours would have a bunch of boyfriends. I'm like, okay, all right, we're in middle school. We're picking on people's hair now. Internet, it devolves really quickly. People get so nasty when they don't have to look to somebody face to face and say something, you know?
Right. And if they don't have, like, if they think that they've got like an anonymity, why can I not say that word?
Animosity and anonymity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And they sit there and they think, okay, well, I'm basically hiding in the shadows. I can say whatever you want. And, in theory, if you're going to say something, you should own it. I mean, that's one of the rules to the network that we've always had is kind of um, own what you say what you own. So basically, if you're going to say that, hey, I support it, then you need to support it and not sit there and then all of a sudden you turn your back and no, I don't support anything of it. It's like, that's not how we work on this. It's if we didn't believe in it, we wouldn't have you on, or we wouldn't, be trying to get the community to look in a better light and not just all these people thinking it's all stereotypical, everything's just a gangbang orgy. And that's not how it is.
No, no. In fact, I really don't like that kind of stuff. Like I'm not. I like group sex, but yeah, it's just not like a lot of people think it is. And I know, like, I come from more like the swingers background, right? And like my first experience with that kind of stuff was going to a swingers club, and I would meet people ahead of time, and we'd have coffee or whatever, and vet, and then we'd go play at the swingers club. Like, was kind of how it worked. Um, but like swingers clubs, people are doing it left and right. Like it's a place where people go to have sex. And I went to a dungeon for a public dungeon for the first time this last year. Very, very different. You
Mhm.
know, like the first dungeon I went to, nobody was even having sex. There was some play going on, but it was like spanking and stuff like that. And there were people that were serving drinks topless and stuff like that, but it wasn't. It was way less like sex focused. And so that was even somebody as me who's had kinky friends for a long time, being new to the kink part of things. I was like, oh well, this is a little different than I was expecting. It isn't as sex focused. And one of the things I've really learned over the past year is there's a huge way to be kinky that can be platonic or not sexual at all, which is really interesting to me too.
Yeah, I've seen a friend of mine, or used to be a friend of mine. She had a dungeon in her basement, and she'd have like dungeon parties and stuff like that, and that was interesting. Like, for not knowing what I was walking into, this was several years ago, and you go down there, and I mean, they're doing like blow darts and like getting them to stick in places, and like
Jeez.
the spanking machine. There was a fucking machine there.
Wow.
Like the Saint Andrew's cross, all that stuff, and watching people get spanked and all this. But a lot of them they were couples that went there as a couple, and they were playing as a couple, and it wasn't. They weren't letting anybody else really into it. They'd sit there and talk
Mhm.
to them while they were doing it, but it wasn't like everybody was just having fun with everybody. It was an interesting experience, to say the least, to somebody that never even seen that before.
Yeah, it's a lot more planned. Like you see people, and I do the same thing now. So like now I'm a dungeon member, and I do the same thing. Like I have a submissive, and we will plan loosely what we're going to do ahead of time, and go there with a plan of almost like performing. Or flip side is that we'll know it's going to be a certain night, and they're going to have a demo of some kind of skill that we're interested or curious in, and we'll go watch. But we don't ever go. I don't ever go expecting to be part of anybody else's scene, nor have I ever had anybody ask to be a part of my scene. I've gotten invited. We've been invited a couple of times to join people, but it's always been like a surprise.
Yeah.
And I think that helps build like respect and understanding between you and your submissive. Because if you just go in and be like, "We're doing this," like that just kills that trust that you just built with your submissive.
Yeah. And it's different vibes, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's funny because the same guy and I went to a hotel takeover, and which was very much like a swingers event with a dungeon. And we, like, again, loosely planned what we were going to do. But because of the swingers nature kind of aspect of it, I ended up playing with some people I met earlier in the night. And so it was a little bit of both. But yeah, there's a home for everybody in the kink world, especially. There's a lot of, ethical non-monogamy, but there are also people that are monogamous, married partners that will go to dungeons just to kink out and hang out with their friends.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. It's a lot more of a diverse world than I ever realized. And this is coming from somebody that's been in the lifestyle for, like I said, 2 decades now. So yeah, it's coming up on my 22nd decade my 22nd year next month,
Aw.
for being in the lifestyle. So
Cool.
always something fun and new to discover.
See, like for me being a submissive, I have come to a prey as like quote unquote, doms who think they are all that in a bag of potato chips, but they aren't it. Like they don't gain my respect like they should. And because like to me, like that's if I can't trust you, I'm never gonna submit to you. And
Absolutely.
Thank you.
and if they just take it and without talking or understanding what my boundaries are, or keep pushing past or keep bringing up what my boundary is, that's a huge red flag for me. And I'm like, you just done. Like I can't respect you anymore, like because you keep pushing for it, and I can't submit to you at this point because you broke that trust in my brain. Because for me, a lot of it's mental first, and then everything else comes after that.
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
with that, okay, so here's one thing I'm kind of curious on, like the dom and the sub thing. So there's going to be rules to everything to where you've got to make sure that you're not, if you're a dom, you don't want to overdo it and overstep those rules. There's going to be like personal time where you actually need them to be an actual relation or a partner in your relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and not just I'm in control and that's it.
Right.
Pretty much. If that's what you
Because I mean, I think in our relationship, pretty much, I mean, yeah, a lot of it, there's a lot of 50-50, but when it comes to a lot of stuff in the bedroom, I think my wife is more of the dominant.
Yeah.
That smile.
But a part of it too is like with my past and stuff, it's like I get really leery because there's been times like my ex would get drunk and we do something, and all of a sudden I'm told I raped her or something, and it's like,
Ooh.
wait a minute, it was
Yeah.
consensual. So now it's like it really put a hold on me, and usually like I don't push my wife into anything. I don't push her to do anything she doesn't want to. If I'm trying to get her in the mood and she says no, it's like, okay, I stop right then and there.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I just I think that's probably part of the submissive side now because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to wreck our relationship. I don't want her to ever think that she can't trust me and think that I'm just going to force myself on her. So,
Right.
It's interesting that you're bringing consent up because I, again, like one of the things I discovered after I was divorced is that I'm a dominant. Like I am 100% just a dominant woman, and some of the things that I have been doing and the ways that I've been having sex were apparently dominant women way of having sex. Like
Yeah.
this is what I want you to do, and this is how I want.
Exactly.
Apparently that's not how everybody has sex. And for me, I realized that when I go into it is like I am the dominant woman, that I have a level of control that I feel comfortable with, that makes me know that when I'm calling the shots, that everything that happens is going to be consensual, because
Right.
I put a lot of work into discussing that ahead of time and checking in with my partners afterwards, which it
Yeah.
sounds like you were doing. If you're hearing afterwards, you just rape me. But the thing is, like, I feel like a lot of times as a woman, I was unintentionally coerced into doing things that I didn't necessarily want to do.
Yep.
And by being a dominant woman, it just prevents that from happening. And the unexpected thing that's happened for me this past year is that I I love that the men have said that they like getting a place where they don't have to be in control and they can
Right.
kind of give up and they don't have to think about that kind of stuff, and they don't necessarily have to pay for all of the dates. And yeah, I enjoy that part of it.
So how hard is it for a dom to wreck that role with a submissive?
As far as
Like, is it something that is it real quick that somebody can wreck that, or is it something that takes more time? Or
it depends on the situation for
Yep.
me being the
Yep.
sub. So like with my current, I don't even know what we are right now. Um, like we call him daddy, so like daddy Dom. He kept pushing my boundaries, and my whole hard limit was no anal. I will absolutely fucking no. I have been destroyed. I've had my ex-husband push that. I don't
Yeah.
like it. It's not something for me. I'm a tiny person. You're gonna freaking destroy me and cause damage.
sorry, I didn't
So
mean to laugh.
Yeah.
no, you're gonna cause damage. I'm sorry. Like I don't like it.
I'm the typical
But
guy in my mind. I just seen like
so then, like
Yeah.
as a
sorry.
Christmas gift for us, he got anal beads. And I'm like, you knew this is a hard no for me. And you keep pushing and bringing it up. So then it just builds that trust down to where I'm like, well, fuck you. Go find someone else that wants anal. I'm done. Like,
Good for you.
it can happen that quickly for
Right.
me because my immediate response is, well, fuck you. You don't respect me. Then I'm not going to respect you. Like, because that's just my past trauma response coming
Yep.
You got to respect the
Mhm.
boundaries.
in. Right.
I
And he
know.
wasn't. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, okay, well,
See, I was sexually abused from the time I was really little, and throughout my life, and it's hard. Like, you either go one way or another with that. Like, my ex-husband did a lot of sexual abuse, but I was sleeping. I didn't even know
mhm.
that he was doing it.
I think we talked about that in our chat.
So,
Oh,
like,
sorry, that's so fucked up.
yeah, so, like, it got to the point where my doctor told me that I needed to put a lock on my door and keep my kids in there with me because if he can't get to me, he's gonna try something else. And I mean, it's insane. Like, I was sexually abused by my stepdad. Um,
And see, that's one thing that's kind of weird is because she knew this before we got together. Like one kink I've had, and I don't ever act on it, is like the whole unconscious thing. But being the fact of what's happened to her in the past, it's like okay, that just gets pushed off. It's not a
oh,
big deal.
that's just like you don't.
And I had that one, the whole joke with the old show, the whole Dr. Chloroform thing, because I
Yeah,
made one
that's
stupid
what.
comment. Because we had one lady on one of our old shows where she always talked and was annoying. And she was dating another guy that was on the show. And she's like, well, if any guys in here wanted me, how would you want me? And I laughed and said unconscious because I just wanted her to shut up. And
Yep.
not a lot of people caught that. And then finally, people listening were like, he really said that in the background.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then all of a sudden, they gave me the nickname Dr. Chloroform just as a joke because of that. But that, is kind of one of like a kink that I put off to the side. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal. It's not anything I can, I'm not going to.
Like, he's afraid to go down on me, like if I'm sleeping or something, and I'm like, that is not gonna bother me at all, trust me. But like the thing is yeah, I tell him what I want, basically, and he wants me to tell him. Like,
Well, your ex husband ruined the whole blowjob thing for me.
well, yeah, exactly. I was gonna say you don't push that neither.
No, I love him.
But I do like anal. It doesn't happen like very often, but I do like it. And
But there's a dynamic there is I don't push it on you.
I am a dominant person because I went through everything I went through. I was very independent. You know, I did stand up for myself. I didn't, just let him sit there and do anything he wanted to me. Like, when he beat the shit out of me, I didn't just sit there and take it. Like, I fought back. No, fuck you. And, the thing is, I'm not a big person.
My ex, when
You
she'd beat the shit out of me, I just let it happen because I'm not going to hit a woman.
5 foot tall, like, and so, like, dating females too, I had that role. I was the dominant person. I was more of like a male type,
Mhm.
role. So like it's just yeah, it's who I am, and you're not gonna change that.
Right.
Like, and I love females, like absolutely love females. And yeah, I've always told him, like, he's really good at going down there and doing what he does. Like, I'm gonna
Thank
tell
you.
you right now. But the thing
I'll take the
is,
compliment.
like, I always say a female knows what a female wants.
Mhm.
Like, just because they're a female.
Well, I
Like,
didn't, like I told you, I did my research. I went in and
I
looked at
know.
like classes on how to do it
Yeah,
and
you did.
everything. So I
Yes, you
wanted to
did.
make sure I was good at something
Yeah.
because I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I'll admit it.
I told him, "Are you sure you weren't born a female? Because like that was fucking amazing."
Well, I always told you if I woke up being a female, I'd probably never leave the bedroom.
Yeah. No.
Got to try it out.
You're funny.
What would you do if you woke up and you were a guy all of a sudden? You're
I'm
telling me
like,
you
what
wouldn't?
the fuck is going on?
You wouldn't try to
That's
rub
what
one
I
out
would be
once?
like. I'm like, what's happening here? Where's my body? Like,
I need to do the dick helicopter because I've seen enough guys do that it looks like it must be really fun.
Not
So
gonna lie.
yeah,
I don't know.
probably.
Gotta
My
helicopter the
boyfriend
dick
would
around
do
a
that
little
to me
bit.
all the time. Like he'd come out of the shower and just like sit there. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? "Oh, just the helicopter. I'm like, put that goddamn thing away before I shove it up your throat. Cause
Yeah.
Like you slap it on both legs by sitting there going like that really quick.
stop it. You
Yeah.
look like a monkey playing with yourself. I've had monkeys like
I think I've
staring right at me and
I think-
like rubbing one out. I'm like, what is happening right now?
I think I've done that before to you. Look, I'm clapping with no hands. Clack, clack, clack.
Yes, you have. Yes, yes.
But it's the 12-year-old boy thing
know.
that's still in her mind.
Yeah, I have an inner 12-year-old boy that comes out every now and then that makes your mom jokes. And so yeah, the first thing I'd have to do is helicopter my dick around. Then I'd probably
Yeah,
masturbate.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's something different. It's a weird feeling.
I don't know. My first thing would be like, ugh, I need a shower.
Yeah, yeah.
I do that now anyways.
So
Oh
much.
my god, my boys reek, man. Like I'm telling you right now, it's like living in a frat house in my house.
Our soon-to-be 18-year-old's bed is a biohazard.
Yeah, it is. Like they don't give two shits if they come out in their underwear, anything. I'm like, come on, man, put some pants on. You're how old? But like our 18-year-old, he's autistic and has a rare form of Down syndrome, and he's got epilepsy and all that. And
If
so
you need another beer, just let him know.
He's
I'm okay right now.
Okay, he's our bitch.
No, he's not.
Right now he is.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is. He's on the show. He's our bitch. He's our runner.
Okay, whatever. But
He's fine with that, aren't you?
so
See?
our son's only mentally 4 to 6 years old, but he is 18.
Mhm.
So he'll come out of the bathroom stark naked. He does not give a crap. Like he does not care who's here.
What's he want you to do right now to his pubic hair because he doesn't
Oh,
want it?
no. He cannot stand the fact that he's growing hair.
Mm.
And so he asked me one day, he's like, Mom, can you please shave it off? Please. And I'm like, no, I cannot. He's like, I'll do it myself. I'm like, no, you will not.
Mhm.
I'm
Well,
like, that's the last thing.
He doesn't even understand when the thing wakes up.
No.
He's like, why is it doing this?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
But he has no problem when we go to a restaurant and the waiter. Like, he has no problem.
And our soon-to-be 18-year-old got pissed off when the presidential elections was coming on, and he misheard something.
Yeah, he did.
And he goes, "Oh, outlawing sex change," or when they said outlawing sex changes, he thought they said sex chambers. He's like, "What? They're outlawing sex chambers?" It's like, no, you remember that, don't you, Dakota?
Yeah.
That's funny.
He's like, "Oh God, thank you." It's like, well, we know what you want.
Yeah. Yes, darling.
He's definitely our 50 Shades of Grey kid.
Yeah, he is. Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, we as a family in that we don't really we don't expose the kids to a lot, but then again, we don't hide them from it.
No.
We kind of let them discover things on their own.
Yeah.
We know that they look at porn on their tablets and stuff. We're not stupid.
Yeah.
They're boys. I mean, I knew what I did.
Like, it's like you really gotta go to the bathroom, and they're in the bathroom forever, and it's like, come on, dude. Like,
Well,
ugh.
our 18, well, soon to be 18-year-old, he has to, whenever he goes to the bathroom, he has to strip naked to
Yep.
go to the bathroom, and then he's in there for like an hour and a half, and it's like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not dumb. We know what you're doing. If you're gonna poop, and get out. Other people have to
Do
use
your
it.
business.
Yeah.
I haven't crossed that with my 11-year-old yet, so he's almost 12.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten to that point yet, and thank God.
It's
Our
coming.
10-year-old
I am not
is
ready for
already
that.
going through puberty, so
Like, he's gone through puberty, he just doesn't seem to have much interest in the sexuality
Yeah.
of part of it yet, which thank God. And it's yeah. But I told him, I'm like,
Yeah, anytime you
that's
set
a
that on there, it's
conversation
kaboom.
for
I
your
know.
dad to have with you, because
yeah.
I don't have one, so I can't help you.
Oh God, my oldest screwed me in that because we went to I got volunteered to go to his school one day.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, what am I going here for? He's like, I don't know. Next thing I know, we sit down and it's just boys.
Mm.
And the video comes on. It's the whole sex ed video. And I'm sitting there thinking, dude, you brought the wrong person. He looked at me, goes, I'm going to start to think that. And then everything that came up, of course, me being me, made some kind of comment. I had all the little kids laughing. I had his teacher was sitting next to me, hitting me, telling me to shut up. Because there was one point I remember the one it said, remember kids, when it comes down to it, size does not matter. I made the comment, yeah, right. And then I believe the whole comment was, what was it? You can get to England in a rowboat, but it's going to take a long time. And that, yeah, his teacher was not thrilled with me, and she was about my age. At the end, I got told, she come up to me, she goes, Mr. Shannon, you are not allowed to come to any more of these again. I am sorry.
I mean, size doesn't necessarily matter, but when you're with somebody and you're like, you haven't done anything physical and you think they got big dick energy, and then you go to suck on it and you're like,
Well,
oh,
it's
it's
a
like a
baby
tank.
carrot.
That's disappointing.
That's like that meme on
Oh,
on Facebook all the
Wow.
time with the little kid. It's like
Yeah.
it's in there going, your dick's the size of a Tic Tac. Oh yeah, that's why your mom had such fresh breath last night. And then you see the dad get slapped by the mother.
Oh my gosh.
I had her watch that, and she's like, "Oh my god."
yeah. Yep.
Fun being unhinged.
Yeah.
And so I'm sorry, we're kind of getting away from what
Yeah,
we
sorry.
were going with, but pretty much. Sorry, that's one thing you'll notice with this network. We kind of, it's like having a bunch of squirrels, ADD squirrels running around.
Easy. Yep.
But so now that interview you had, it was with like a more of a vanilla concept, right?
Yeah. Again, it was just like in a group of vanilla people and on a social media page. But yeah, it was definitely like a group of just normal folks. Yeah, it's interesting because I think that polyamory and kink are a lot more popular and out there now more than ever. Like, you mentioned 50 Shades of Grey. Like, people are talking about that stuff and trying it now more than ever. But like, there are still a lot of people out there that are uninformed and, maybe a little judgmental. And the funny thing is, like, I wonder how many of them are watching porn that's a lot like the sex that I'm having.
Right, exactly.
There's a reason that the stuff is popular and makes a lot of money and is the first use of any new technology. It's like, what can we do? How can we fuck to this? And technology comes out.
Yeah, and I know like back, I think probably the 70s, maybe the 60s, and that kind of brought more of it out. But like in the 50s, there was so much of that going on, but it was all closet, and everybody like it stayed within the doors, and nobody really talked about it. It was all hush hush, and I mean there was a lot more going on than they probably knew. It's just especially like the 60s with the whole love movement, and all that stuff, it kind of started bringing it out. And I think now with more, like you said, more of the digital age, it's more out in the open more. There's more people that, if they're curious, they can find it. I mean, you can go on any porn site and find any kink that you want,
Yeah.
and it's more out in the open. It's more accepted, but then you've still got the hardcores that are like, oh no, this is completely wrong and all this stuff. But then probably what's going on behind their closed doors is probably not, any better or possibly worse than what anybody else is doing that's actually open about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing, right? Like, as human beings, we tend to really look at like only what's right in front of us. But I'm a history nerd. And if you look at like throughout history and throughout different cultures and like this nuclear family heteronormative thing that we have going on in our country right now is pretty new. Like, you look back to the ancient Romans,
Oh
they
boy.
had lots of they had orgies. They had orgies. They used to have elaborate meals with lots of wine where they would vomit and then have group sex.
They
Like,
they
Exactly.
used to have
like,
problems too because when the boys were like 4 or 5, they got shipped off to military camps, and then there was no women allowed. So by the time they actually hit maturity, and that the older boys that had been training them, there was a sexual bond there, and then get
yep.
back, and they had no interest in the women.
Yep. Yeah, there
Yeah.
was a lot of gay sex. And if you look at things like if we look to the east and we look at like Middle Eastern cultures and Asian cultures, and a lot of them were polygamous, a lot of them if they had several concubines, a lot of the times if you read the journals and the memoirs, the concubines were sleeping with each other. The concubines had boyfriends, and it was just the way that we look at sex and marriage right now is just it's very unique to the point of time that we're in. And if we take a bigger look at things, it's just not that way, not even necessarily now all over the world, but especially throughout history. Yeah, and for me personally, like it was constructive. And for me, like being a relationship anarchist too, kind of like what we were all talking about, like we all have our limits, we all have our desires, and just because I want to do something, not being able to do that because I have a partner who isn't into that is limiting, right? And so when I look at relationship anarchy, the thing I like about it is the concept of relationship diversity, and that I don't look to one person to fulfill all of my romantic and sexual and friendship needs, right? Like I have a few best friends. They're my support network and my help. I have some people that I am romantically interested in. I have some people that just fulfill certain sexual roles in my life. And it makes me happy. It's probably not for everybody. It's a lot of work to manage and maintain that schedule. But yeah, it works for me. And I feel like it takes the pressure off of me, especially because I don't have to be everything to somebody else either.
Now, do you ever run into a lot of jealousy or anything with having multiple partners like that?
It's definitely been something that's come up in the past with my current relationship configuration. It hasn't really been a problem. I've been jealous before, but I like to think I don't take it out on my partners. When jealousy comes up for me, I'm like, why am I jealous? And I look at it and it's always about some way that I feel inadequate. And so that's a sign for me to do some reflection on that. Right. But again, I've been doing this for 20 something years, 23 years. And so the jealousy stuff was big at the beginning, but it is less so now because I know how to deal with it in a healthy way and work through it, I guess. So yeah, it's there, but it's not something that I even choose to express with my partner sometimes, right? That's my own feeling to dive into and figure out.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think of something to add. You guys can jump in anytime.
Do you find that you're bumping up against jealousy a lot?
With like the marriage thing, or
Yeah, whatever. Like in kink and jealousy is out there a lot these days.
No.
not really too much. I mean, the way that our relationship has grown, we've kind of, I think, like me, I made my mistakes in my first relationship, and I've learned, if I want to make something work, if I do get jealous over it, I've just got to kind of take a step back and realize, hey, like if she wants to go to her friend's house or something, she needs that. She needs her getaway time. Otherwise, she's gonna go crazy, maybe murder me in my sleep or something.
No.
But no, I mean there's been times like that aspect, but it's not anything that I can't handle. I might say something and be like, "All right, I'm sorry, I overstepped. I didn't mean to say it that way." And I just kind of deal with it on my own. Now, I know with her, I'm pretty much stuck at home all the time due to past events that have happened with my friends and that. So, kind of in the process of trying to make new friends, but that's a whole different story for another thing. But yeah, that's been about it as far as like dog, you're on the court. Um as far as that goes, I mean, I just have to realize if I do get jealous on something, it's kind of my, how do I put it? It's not an immaturity, it's a I just have to realize the fact that, she needs her time out.
Oh yeah. And like the whole thing, I'm not jealous at all. Like you just know that I have certain expectations and boundaries on things, and I put that plate out there.
Well, you also like it too, the fact that when we have went to a bar, if a girl's hit on me, usually the first thing I say is, I'm married.
Yeah, I know. I know he does.
So I usually, I basically shoot myself in the foot before I would even have a chance to do anything.
Yep.
So like my exes, like since I left my ex-husband, they so like I like to go dancing, whatever. They'll come with me, um, and kind of be like a bodyguard just to make sure guys aren't trying anything farther than I would let them go.
Mhm.
So there's no jealousy there. They know I'm going home with them at the end of the night. And I'm blowing off steam. They're getting their drink on or whatever, chatting with other people. So it's not a big deal. Um, and um, I have had situations where men have tried to grab my breasts and my coochie and my ass, and I would move their hands many times. And that's when I would text one of the ex-boyfriends and be like, hey, if you're not busy, come out to this bar because someone's getting handsy. And they'll show up within like 20 minutes. And they have that like moment of like, I see you and fuck you. And they leave me alone after that. I hate that I have to do that, but
Well, there's been a couple times with her that I've had
it's just like these young men who are like in their 20s, they think they can just do whatever the fuck they want
Mhm.
because you're a single woman on the dance floor. It's like, no. How about you just leave me alone and let me dance? Like, what? This isn't an invitation to fuck me right now. So,
Yeah, you're just letting off some steam.
yeah. So, being with like dominance or any relationship, it's just they have to know I'm going to be out there dancing, and you either have to join me or just be okay that someone might try something.
Mm-hmm.
So, and understand that I'm a big girl. I can take care of myself, but occasionally you might need to step in.
Yeah, and that's something she needs.
I love to dance, so like
We've been trying to find a place for her to just kind of go out and dance and have fun. And I mean, I look like I'm, a seizure victim having a stroke, so I try not to dance too much, and because I have no rhythm, but she loves it.
Yeah, I do a lot. I told him I'm like I want a stripper pole so bad,
Right?
like
So much fun.
and I was like I did that for an actual class like for exercising.
Yeah.
It's amazing,
I bet.
like because you have to have a lot of upper body strength to do a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and man, like the muscle you build and the weight you lose from it, like it's like people just look at them and they're like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. That looks so, it's not
It's
that
not easy,
easy
no.
at all.
I couldn't do it.
I give those girls props. Like they have a lot of confidence, and that's like, go ahead, do your thing. Like I love to dance, but I can't get up and do that. Like,
Well, even when we go to the strip club and you're like dancing with the strippers now, you have guys that are staring at you instead of the
I know.
strippers.
I know.
The last
Yeah.
time you went, you were dressed as Wednesday.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was. That was fun.
That was the first time I think you ever made me pull over.
Yeah, I know. That's funny.
we
had
had
to
we
pull over because I wanted sex and I wanted it now. Yep.
we had to pull over in a truck stop.
Yep.
Hell.
Uh-oh.
That's me.
Can you grab a towel?
Party foul.
Yeah. Hurry up! It's running.
Run! Run, Forrest!
Oh, he's gonna make it. No, stop. Hold on.
Uh,
Oh,
Not that foot.
not that one.
That one
Careful
can't
with
get
that
wet.
one.
I'm trying to keep pushing it back. Yeah, because our house has a little slope to it.
Yeah.
that's fun.
Well, it's old. It's old.
Oh, yeah.
And I always forget I can't get that one foot wet.
Yeah.
I broke my foot.
Yep.
See, and you said he wasn't a bitch.
He's not. Nice. God, you're an ass.
I pay for his room and board. He's fine.
Whatever.
I'm just giving you crap. You know that, Dakota.
You're mean. No, I'm just kidding.
Ain't
Yeah.
that the truth?
We know that y'all are. We love you, but y'all are.
But well, I know it's getting kind of late. Is there anything you want to put out there as far as any final words and stuff?
Just be cool to everybody, man.
Right, exactly. Be understanding that everybody's human, like,
Yeah, being nice doesn't cost us anything. But time.
Exactly. But I'll let you get on with your night. Thank you for being on.
Yes.
You're always welcome to come back on if you ever want to be back on.
It's
Or
amazing.
you ever want to come up and be on studio, we'd be more than fine with that.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was nice to meet y'all. I hope I run
Yes,
into
you
you.
too.
I'm around the Kink community.
So with that, we'll get the show out, and as soon as it comes out, I'll message you and let you know that hey, we got it going. And I just want to say, just have a wonderful night, and it was great having you.
Yes, it
Happy
was.
New
Thank
Year.
you so much.
All right, talk to you soon.
Bye,
Bye.
Alicia.
Bye-bye.
And I also want to say a special thanks to Sarah for being on.
Yes.
Thanks.
Hi, Sarah. Bye, Sarah. Nice to meet you.
Bye. Likewise.
Likewise.
All right, well, everybody have a good night and enjoy your kinks.
You may now begin the course.